Good morning, Foray, and welcome to today's math lesson. Today we are moving on from informal methods of multiplication to written methods of multiplication. To recap, let's have a look at the grid method that we looked at over the last couple of days. So if we were to take 431 multiplied by 8, we will partition 431, which remember is the multiplicand, into 400, 30 and 1. We would then multiply that by the multiplier 8. We split them out in the grids, and the first thing we would do would be 8 multiplied by 1, which is 8. 8 multiplied by 30, which is 240. So if you remember, 8 times 3 is 24. 24 10 times bigger becomes 240. And then we do 8 times 400, which is 3,200. Again, remembering that 8 times 4 is 32. 400 is 100 times bigger than 4, so the answer must be 100 times bigger. So 32 becomes 3,200. We add all of those together to get the answer 3,448. So hopefully we've all understood that, and we're going to move on to the next method we're going to look at. So today, the first method that we're going to look at is called the expanded method of multiplication. So for that one, we're going to take the same example of 431 multiplied by 8. And again, we're going to partition the number 431 into its different place values. So we have 1, 30 and 400, and we're going to multiply that by 8 again. So as we said, the first thing we do is partition them up into 3 calculations we're going to do here. So you can see on the first row we're going to do 8 multiplied by 1. On the second row we're going to do 8 multiplied by 30. And on the third row we're going to do 8 multiplied by 400. So the first thing we do, the first one, 8 times 1 is 8. And we make sure that goes into the 1's place value. Then we do 8 times 30, which is 240. Again, making sure that the 2 goes into the hundreds, the 4 goes into the tens, and the 0 goes into the 1's place value. And then 8 times 400 is 3,200. Again, making sure everything is in the correct place value. It's really important today you make sure everything goes in the correct place value. Then what we do is we add all those together. So all the 1s, then the 10s, then the hundreds, obviously. So adding 8 and 0 gives us 8. Adding 4 and 0 in the tens column gives us 4 tens. Adding 200 and 200 together gives us 400. And then the 3,000 on its own gives us 3,000, giving us the answer 3,448. So can you see how there's a link there between the grid method, where we partitioned it out and put it in boxes, to now this expanded method, where we partitioned it and put it into rows and still added it together. Okay, so let's have a look at another example. So in this example, we're going to multiply 234 by 3. So the first thing we're going to do is partition it into its correct place values. So 200, 30 and 4. And create these 3 number sentences. 3 multiplied by 4, 3 multiplied by 30 and 3 multiplied by 200. Start with the 1s. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. And you can see there that the 110 is in the 10's place value and the 2 1s in the 1's place value. 3 multiplied by 30 is 90 in the correct place values, and 3 multiplied by 200 gives us 600, again in the correct place values. And then what we do is we add them together. This time you can see, if we look at the 1s, we do 2 add nothing is 2. In the 10s though, we do 1 10 add 9 10 add 0 10s gives us 10 10s. Now if you remember, we can't have 10 10s in one place value, so we're going to have to exchange across. So as you can see there, the 0 has stayed in the place values, and that 10 tens, which is 100, has gone across into the hundreds place value. Now when we add together the hundreds place value, we've got 600s plus 7 plus 100s, giving us 700s. So this is another example of how to use the expanded method of multiplication. So that was the expanded method of multiplication. I've attached in the email the do, the think and explore activities for you to have a go at. Now, if you're feeling adventurous, in the next part of this video, I'll be looking at the column method of multiplication. However, if you'd like to try out the expanded method first, you don't need to watch the rest of it. You can watch it later, and you can start cracking on with the activities now. So let's have a look at the column method of multiplication. On the left-hand side, you can see 431 multiplied by 8 using the expanded method of multiplication. On the right, I'm going to show you how to do the same calculation of 431 multiplied by 8 using the column method of multiplication. So this time what we're going to do, like before, is we're going to start with 8 multiplied by 1, which gives us 8, which you can see we put in the 1's place value. Now we're going to do 8 multiplied by 3 tens, which would give us 24 tens. Obviously, we can't put 24 in the tens place value, so the 4 stays in the tens place value, and the 2 carries across into the hundreds place value. Then we're going to do 8 multiplied by 4 hundredths. That would have given us 32 hundredths, but of course we already carried across 2 hundredths, and so we have to add them on, giving us 34 hundredths. So this time, of course, the 4 stays in the hundreds place value, and the 3 carries across into the thousands place value. The last thing we need to do is put those thousands into the answer to give us 3,448. So you can see in this method what we've done, rather than partitioning it out, we've looked at each place value separately, and then we've combined them all together to find the answer. So let's look at another example, 746 multiplied by 5. So we start off with 5 times 6, which is 30. Obviously, we can't have 30 in the ones place value, so the 0 stays in the ones place value, and the 3's carry across to the tens place value. Then we do 5 multiplied by 4 tens, which would have given us 20 tens, but because we've already carried 3 across, we have to add them on, which gives us 23 tens. And again, the 3 stays in the tens place value, and the 2 carries across to the hundreds place value. Then we do 5 multiplied by 7 hundredths, which would have given us 35 hundredths, but we carried 2 across, so we have to add those on, giving us 37 hundredths. And then the last thing we need to do is put those thousands in the thousands place value, giving us 3,730. Now, there's another example on the other side of the screen, which is 846 multiplied by 7. So I'm going to give you an opportunity now to practice that and see how you get on. So if you pause the video now, have a go, and then I'm going to put the answer up in a second. Okay, so the answer to this question was 5,922. Did you get the right answer? If so, well done. If not, maybe go back and have a look at your carrying to see whether you've done the correct one.